Okay, so Mona, we are live, and to the listening audience, I'm going to connect. We are connected to your page already, Mona. I can see that.
All righty.
But what I need to do right now is, can you share? Not, not share, but can you tag me on your page?
Mm-hmm.
If you can tag me, then that would be great.
Uh, okay, so you say tag. How do I tag? Oh, friends, I see. Oh, no, that's not it.
So do you see this little blue like person and you've got,
Yep,
all right, just hit that and then you should be able to put my name in to the little box and
I just did. See if you got it.
mm, yeah, I don't think that I do not see it. Let me just do this. Huh. Did you tag me?
Maybe not. Hold on.
So you hit edit. Well, maybe that's okay. What I'm gonna do. Mhm. Yeah, don't worry about that, YouTube. We are Black Independence. And hit that. Mhm. Mhm. That is weird. Here we go.
I just hit share, but I certainly didn't tag you because I don't know how to do it.
You did not tag me. Okay, that's all right. I'm gonna do something. Be Black Independent inspiration. We are Black Independents. Hmm. All right, so I think we're on your page, so that is good. But I want to pull it into my page. But I don't see it. Ta-da. If I go here, just give me 1 second. Jeannette, the Black Independent profile. Here we go. Yes. Dashboard. Okay. That's I'm not sure why it takes a while before I can see it actually going. Create your channel. We should be live. Do you see anything?
I do see us live.
You do?
Let me see.
Okay, I want to make sure we are definitely on YouTube, but I'm going to go ahead and
Oh, I'll do it.
yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go. Okay.
All right, just open it up. Talk to the people.
Home. We are Black Independence. We are. I can see that we are live at this point. And now I'm going to share. It's kind of weird that I have to stumble on this Facebook. And save. Right.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm live on Facebook now.
Okay,
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
To the Black Independent, where we speak truth to power, unapologetically.
For too long, the black vote has been treated like a given, but we're not property. We're not pawns. We are the descendants of those who built this nation. And now, we're demanding tangibles, not tokenism, because the era of blind loyalty is over. This is the Black Independent. Let's get to work.
Hey, Mona.
Hey, Jeannette, we finally got it.
We got it a little quicker than we were before, so we're getting there, but still a little rusty. So thank you, listening audience, for being patient with us as we get this down.
Yeah,
Okay.
because look, this is episode 13, and I tell you every time I don't do live Facebook when I'm out and about, and when I do, it's so funny
Mhm.
because I always have to ask anybody, and I don't have a problem, of course, asking anybody to my right or left, hey, can you show me how to go live? Can you go live for me? And then they do it, and I'm like, okay, well, how do I stop it? I don't try to remember that stuff.
Yeah, so we got a really good show tonight. Thank you for co-hosting it with me, but I'm going to let you lead on this one, and I'm going to follow your lead. It's been quite an eventful week already, and it's just Wednesday.
It has. It's been quite um, a long 2 months, right? And I get home to
Yes.
do, and I think I got home about 4:30, and I was just writing down some notes for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turn the TV on, and I see something scroll across the television, and I'm like, "What the? Wait a minute!" And I turned the volume up because I had the volume down.
Yeah.
Then I started going through different channels, and I went to Fox News, and I was like, "Oh my God, Charlie Kirk been shot!" And then it didn't really tell me that he was dead, but then someone sent me a video and
Yeah.
how it was, and I was like, "It's no way that he could survive that."
Yeah.
Now, we all know a little about Charlie Kirk, and that
Right.
just brings me into what we're focusing on here locally, right? Um, with Black independence,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
about moving a community forward together
Yeah.
without having elections that destroys people who look like us. We're going to have to figure out a way where we can have these elections, get behind a candidate, and not have enemies once it's over.
Yeah.
We
That's
got to
true.
figure out a better way, and then we have to figure out a way. And I keep going back to how we are really, when I say immature, not in a bad way, when it comes to election and what we should get from election, right? Because
Uh-huh.
we just been doing it for almost less than 50 years
Yeah.
or a little over 50 years. And these people, even Charlie Kirk, I mean, he started Turning Point USA, I believe they said, when he was 18. It came down from generation to generation to generation to have that form of thinking
Yeah. That young.
that young.
Yeah.
And he really believed that his race and he deserved power, privilege.
Yeah.
And when he started talking just recently, and I've been following him, I believe the first time I heard about Charlie Kirk was probably 2016 or 17. I can't remember.
Oh, that
But
early.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Because whenever the Republican convention came here to
Yeah.
Tampa,
Uh-huh.
And this was this young guy. And I mean, he was getting traction of young white people, whether they and I think they probably all do believe, but they got behind this one guy, drop out of college. I don't know much about him, but I know he's from Chicago. Okay. Um, haven't done really much research. And he built a movement.
Yeah, he did.
So much so to Trump and them just love them, use them to push that hateful rhetoric out. But they'll try to shut us down when we're trying to do movements, not where we're trying to kill anyone, where we're
Good.
trying to hurt anyone. All we want is equal justice.
Yeah.
And they want to continue to make us second class citizens.
Right. You
So
want
we got
equal justice. Yeah, you want or we want equal justice,
to,
but that's exactly what they don't want to give us.
right.
So if they want to take it back to when it was not equal justice, it really never has been equal justice, but it was a whole lot worse before. They want to move back to that. And from anything that I see, it seems like we're moving in that direction. And you're right. Charlie Kirk really has been instrumental in bringing younger people to that thinking.
Sure, sure. So that kind of changed my intro for coming in, what we were really going to be talking about. And I just wanted to put that in and see how we're going to move forward as a community. So let's dive into the District 5 special election. The people have spoken. And I know that when we had our team meeting on Sunday night, I kind of figured out who I thought the top 3, 4 would be. And my top 2 was definitely it. So we want to say congratulations to Tom Scott and Naya Young. The people have spoken. And
Absolutely. The only thing I would change about that, and it's not any shade on them because they ran great campaigns, Reverend Thomas Scott and Naya Young. The people that voted have spoken.
yes,
And the rest who did not vote that were amongst that 45, 47,000 did not did not do what I think they were expected to do, that we are expected to vote. They decided to shirk that duty, and I can't say it any other way. But the people who voted have spoken,
mhm,
and we have to do a much better job of speaking as a group. And we have not, this race kind of showed me that we have not figured out how to come together as a group and truly put in politicians that are going to move us forward. Now, that's not to say that neither of these will,
right,
because, I am certainly hoping that both of them will take on a very new, in the case of Tom Scott, Bishop Scott, a new and very different agenda, because we can't continue doing the same thing. And
mhm.
Naya has what it takes, because that's a concern that people have, to actually move an agenda that hasn't moved in over 60, 70 years.
Well, let me say this. So when I came in tonight, this afternoon, I got in late last night. So my daughter was here when I got in today, and of course she had heard the results. And she's like, Mom, I want you to get behind Naya. This is what we said we want. And so the young people, and let's say, even if more people would have voted, and I always say this in the president of any election, they'll say, well, we didn't get a lot of support. It doesn't matter. The outcome just would have been a higher number for the top 2 people, because I believe even if we would have got more, that result would have still looked pretty much the same way.
I don't know. I understand the logic behind what you're saying, but I think that I think that it would have been different.
Mm, because with the
Okay,
people, with
two
the people,
factors, two things, and I'm gonna say to you, I truly understand what you're saying, but the length of time, not enough time. 2 months was not long enough. One of the candidates, had, in fact, Allison said, you know, had they gotten to know me, and she's absolutely right about that. She could have pulled in more, and not just proportionately speaking basis what the results were, but I think more would have supported her ticket. But I I just think that
I don't think so.
a longer run and more voters would have likely changed the outcome. I don't think people really go
I
ahead.
don't,
I don't think people really grasp the
I
need
don't
for the
think I
kind of
don't
change
think people
we're talking
care
about.
because people say, "Oh, I didn't know the election." Yes, you did. You had to hear it. It was 13 people in this race, and these 13 people are on
There were
social
too
media.
many.
And
Mhm.
but I'm just saying it was a lot for anybody. You had to be living under a freaking rock not to know what was going on, even
It
if
was a
you're
lot
not
of
on
people.
even if you're not on Facebook. The younger people, they're on TikTok. My daughter knew more about what was going on TikTok, and she saw Elvis. She fell in love with him. Joanna, um, our candidate Naya. They saw this radio, the newspaper. If they wanted to know, it's the same thing. If we have, I'm against early voting as long as we do early voting. It is not worth the money that and time that people put into and people not show up. When you have 100 people voting, if it is something you want to do, you will do it and you'll find a way. So yes, everybody knew, even the churches. Tom Scott got like 1,500 votes. Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
1400. Yeah.
and every black church knew it was an election. You're trying to tell me, did everybody that was a registered voter vote? Mm-mm, they didn't. And why? So I'm saying the amount of people that came out, that was the representation for the mass of the people. So that
Yeah.
was going to be I believe, in my opinion, I believe this result would have been no matter what. These two
Yeah.
people would have came out as the lead in the black community. I would just say that.
Perhaps, but my concern is the apathy within the Black community in 2025 with everything that's going on. Is this a sign of things to come? There's a midterm coming next year that's going to be critical.
Very
Am
good.
I looking at a Black community here, Tampa being a microcosm of what Black people do in elections that should have meaning for them? Are we not going to come out in large enough numbers, sort of Obama-esque numbers, to stop the trajectory of white supremacy in this country? Because that's what we're looking at. Now, I know I've taken it all the way to the midterms, but it scares me to look at these types of numbers. Now, I think I understand these numbers are very similar to or comparable to um, the last, I don't know if it's special election. I don't know
It
what's.
wasn't a special election. It was the president. Yeah, and it's getting lower and lower because, and we could make all kind of reasons. We could say, okay, and it's not excuses, but look, we got to give the people, and we got to organize our community, and that's what I focus on, our community. Okay, so people want to see results, and we just haven't seen that. But now people are looking for change, and we got to be as a group as a group, figure out who we want to represent us and get behind that one person.
Yeah, I guess too. And I read one article that said there were too many change candidates in that number, in that 14 number. And the change, the people that were looking for change, black, white, or indifferent, spreaded those numbers out to you have Naya, you've got the George, you've got Joanna. You had these change candidates that kind of diluted the change vote, which made it easier for status quo to prevail.
Mm, I would say that in this particular election, yes, it was quite a bit that was very unusual, something we have never seen before. But I do believe out of those people you just named, if they was in the top, that they too, I don't know, would have been what we were looking for moving forward, or if they could have been the agent moving forward. Because we're looking for something different. We need candidates to fight different now, and we see the race that's coming up, 2026, District 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is no way we should be having infrastructure problems in Progress Village, and it ain't been solved yet. We we just can't keep going along with the same, or and if it's a problem, the candidate's going to have to be able to come out and tell us what is going on. Why is these issues still happening? People want people want to change,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they don't know really how that change looked, because in our opinion, of course, in mine, Allison was going to be the change agent. Now she's just going to have to continue to do what she's doing on the outside, and whoever get elected, whoever we decide, and maybe we need to have a community meeting and say we want this one person, and we just all get behind this one person.
I think that really is the answer. It's not a maybe. Um, Black people need to determine who's the candidate for race X.
Yes.
And then we all need to get behind that candidate 100%.
And we won't be all, but if we could get 50, 60% of those people.
You get the critical mass behind that individual. So, and even right now, whoever of these two wins this seat, doesn't matter whoever wins this seat, they should have the critical mass of Black people or voters standing with them. Doesn't necessarily mean we have to go down to the city hall every whatever day that is. What is it, Tuesday? See, I don't even know what day Thursday. So it doesn't mean that we all have to do that. What needs to happen is Naya or Pastor Scott, whichever one it is, needs to know, as should everybody on that dais, they should know that he has an army behind him or her. And I think that's what we're missing. If Naya gets the seat, think about the power she would have if she had an army of African American Black people behind her. And she doesn't need to say it. It becomes obvious.
It's just shown. Absolutely.
Right. We
Absolutely.
show it. We can show it. Even if we had to do some kind of sign up on a what are those? They don't even do them anymore, but we kind of sign our names to some petition that says whatever Naya says, whatever Tom Scott says, that's where we stand. What that tells the other three, the at-large voters, I need those votes.
Yes.
And it sort of shifts them a little bit to be more amenable to what is coming out of District 5. If he or she does not have that, it makes their jobs a lot tougher, which means we get a lot madder at them, when really the power, the actual engine that runs the thing is the voters behind them. So beyond that 5,000 or so that voted today for whatever reason, it needs to be of critical mass of Black voters. And I think there's what, 20,000, 19 or 20,000 Black voters. We're the largest number within District 5. That 19,000, at least 12,000 people should be standing with whoever is in that seat. And it should be visible and very well known. If that does not happen, they're going to have to make deals and compromise much more than if it was otherwise. And I think that's what happened with Donald Trump. He took a part of the base that they could not do without, which gave him more power than anybody should have a right to have.
Yeah. Then you have to look at this, because when I was looking, we have to look at a whole lot of things with who we decide, right? We're going to get behind, because the money that is behind these politicians would tell a story, would tell who they are working for. And I don't have a problem with you taking the money, because you need the money to run these campaigns. I mean, you need money.
You do have a problem with them taking the money, and it depends on where the money's coming from. Because if either of them APAC money, you would have a problem with
APAC money, yes.
Okay,
yes.
but there are APAC-like people out there.
APAC isn't really financing these local politicians.
That is true. That is true. And I'm not refuting that, but I'm saying there are APAC-like people out there that will give money with
because they want their
agenda in return. This is
Someone did mention, and I think it was Allison who said why some of the developers give money, because they want access. When you call, they want you to answer the phone immediately. I don't have a problem.
Of course, and that's what I'm talking about.
But what I do have a problem with, if you think you're paying this politician because you want him to curve the rule or vote for something that's not in the best interest of our community, then that's where I have a problem. And we know that this has happened because we look at the condition of our community. And that is what. So I believe whoever gets in this seat, whoever we decide, and I think we need to come together as a group, make this really quick. That we get behind one candidate. All of us get behind one candidate.
Okay, so I'm
thinking, and you can't take it personally. And from what I'm hearing, all day today, I was talking to my girlfriend last night when I got home, and she was big on Naya. I really wasn't thinking one way or the other at that time, and she laid out why. And of course, you know how I am when I go to sleep. Subconsciously, I'm thinking about these things. And then when I woke up, I saw her point. I saw her point. So, and then my customers the other day, I did 3 people, and 3 people said Naya.
I've looked at I kind of reviewed some of the conversation that I had prior, and some of the people that I know that are staples in the community. People know you, and they were saying Naya. And I was like, well, tell me why Naya. And they're looking for a fresh perspective. And that was a consistent theme. But if so she has the passion, she's speaking to the younger voters, but what I found is she's speaking to the older voters as well.
Absolutely.
And I don't want people to think that she's just speaking to the younger voters, because I'm talking to people who I'm thinking they're going to go with me, but they're not. They didn't necessarily follow my way of thinking. But, you know, when I spoke with her, I thought about Maxwell Frost down in down south. He's a House member. He was a part of that Stoneman Douglas mass,
Um,
calling it massacre, but
Jacksonville or
mass
Miami.
shooting. Yeah,
Jacksonville,
mass
Miami,
shooting.
somewhere down there. Yes.
And his is, of course, guns, getting them off, the streets, if you will. But he absolutely is a firehouse. He's a firepower, and he's
Mhm.
got to be around what, 30, if that. Then I'm
Early
thinking
30s,
about, yeah,
late 20s, late 20s.
probably mid to late 20s. And then I'm thinking about AOC, who's got to be around 34-ish by now. She really represents her district extremely well. And you sometimes hear negative things, but they vote her back in every single time. And she's
Sure.
making her name for herself such that folks are saying that she should run for presidency. And I think she probably is going to run. And look how young she is. She's 34. She'll be 37 in a couple years, right?
Uh-huh.
So we're looking at a generation that is muscling up and pretty much saying, let us do what you're not doing. And I think that's what AOC was kind of saying to Pelosi. But back then, Pelosi still had too much of the power and was able to silence the young caucus. I forget what they call themselves. But I think we have to take a seat and look at what we have here. We have status quo in Tom Scott, and we're not sure in Naya, but there's enough evidence out there to say that Naya could come and shake things up.
Yes, because I am really changing because at first I said, listen, I didn't believe that she knew enough to sit there at a time like this when it is very critical. But look, the people are getting behind her. And the three people I did today, they older than me. And they want something new. And I say, um, one of my things, we're not voting for ourselves. I'm not voting for me. My mother isn't voting for her. She is voting for my daughter, her daughters, the future generation. Now, I can't say that when it was Allison, and I do believe, of course, I believe Allison was most qualified, but the majority of the people did not. And Naya could be that person. So basically, community, what say you? We're gonna talk to Facebook, and I don't know how to like. Jeanette, can you read the comments on Facebook?
Oh, I'm not even looking at Facebook,
Now
but
I can see it. I can see it, but on my phone, y'all, because I just have a regular Android, I cannot hit.
you have an
I can't hit. I can't hit like. So we got Don Lee watching us.
All right.
Rita.
So here's the problem that we're going to have with that. Let me see if I can get into mine goes right to YouTube. But yeah, give me a second. So let me see if I
Okay, I'm
can
just gonna say
go ahead and read that one.
what Rita said. She said she can bridge the gap in the community. She is the link that can bring young voters to work with the older voters, and that is the sentiment I am really getting from most people. And
I'm
if
on your
that's
page.
that's what the community wants, then you know. But I do think, look, people need to come to Tea and Conversation Saturday. The two candidates will be there. People now are tired. I know I'm tired. I am tired from and it's just been 2 months, right?
Yeah.
I think it was 2 months with Allison and all of these debates, and I've gone to all the debates, so I don't have to go to any more debates. I do know what most candidates want. I'm probably going to get behind whatever the majority of the community want.
I think it would behoove, especially for this particular debate, for them to go live. I know that's not something that happens, with Tea and Conversation, but this debate needs to go live, and it needs to be something we can reference and talk about and analyze and I think and I hope that Candy Low is listening, that or she gets word that this would be something that probably needs to go live. We need for people to vote come October, what is it, October 28th?
Yes. But also,
We need to get people out, and any debates that occur need to be something that is recorded and live.
well, look, you like to hold the people's hand. I do not.
What am I holding? Whose hand am I holding right now?
Why can't they come and see it, interact with the people, talk to the candidates? This is what I'm saying when people say they don't know.
Because it's 2025.
I don't.
Excuse
Okay.
me. It's 2025. And if that small room crowds, that's fine. Go do that. But also, I should be able to sit wherever I am and be a part of that and have questions. So I hear you, but it's makes sense to me. You'll get a bigger listening audience, but I'm less concerned about that and more concerned about more people having eyes on these two candidates and listening to what it is they have to say. The sooner we can get that done, I love that they're right out of the box pulling them in, the better. And the better for them as well.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I'm not holding hands here. I'm trying to figure out how to get more people in District 5, particularly in East Tampa, engaged. And I think this is one of the ways that you do it.
Okay. I see your point. Yes. So, what do you think? How do you think we move forward, particularly in, and I'm talking about our Black communities, because District 3 race will be coming up in 2026. A lot of important things will be coming up. Everybody is fighting for their best interests, and we got to start moving that way.
Yeah.
And we have not been moving that way. We move on. I don't know, self interest, and I don't know if it's even self interest. How do you think we pick our candidates?
Well, in this case, and probably in most cases, it's familiarity. And
Yeah.
if I know your name and I'm, and I'm not really doing very much, and that's why I think politics is really based on just a lot of uninformed people taking this small snippet of information and deciding that I'm going to vote for that person, and they don't know anything other than, and that's why commercials and money is really important. But it's and for those in this particular case, because it's 19,000 Black folks are in District 5, and you've got two very popular families, and I'm going to go with families because I don't think Naya is as popular as maybe Pastor Scott, but Naya's family is extremely popular within the District 5. I'm going to just call it the ecosystem. And if you have any measure of popularity, name recognition is what will work for you. And family recognition, especially if you are active. And Naya's family is extremely active and well known, and so is the Scott family, or Pastor Scott himself. So name recognition. And I would like to say to the community, let's get beyond name recognition and let's really redo the research and get to know the candidate and understand what it is you're looking for, and listen to find out if the candidate can deliver on whatever that is. I don't know that the Black community understands what they're looking for collectively, because
Right.
if you're going to
I don't
find a
think we,
candidate, right?
yes, you're correct. I don't think we have an ask. And even when we get a candidate, and we hear all the bike room talks. Oh, that person didn't do anything. Oh, but now 4 years later, they're willing to put them back in office again. Why? I don't understand. We're gonna have to hold our candidates accountable just as we hold anybody else accountable. Um, we'll look at the mayor, Bob Buckhorn. We hear he might be a great guy. He might be somebody we all know and like.
We all know him.
Yeah, yeah. But we'll say, what did he do for East Tampa?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a visual person. So I say, show me where he improved East Tampa. So whenever I do get a chance to see him, that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to ask him. I want you to tell me, show me, not tell me, show me. I want to see what you did. Now, I do know one thing that he did. I can't see it. I can only see it when it rains, that we don't flood
Mm-hmm.
anymore. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that he did too. But other
Mm-hmm.
than that, show me what you did to improve the look of East Tampa.
Yeah.
Separate schools. Um, I don't know if Progress Village probably don't vote for the mayor.
Uh-huh.
Um, but those are our areas. That's what I want you to show me because you was in office for 8 years. So, and let's look when we pick a candidate and they can't do what we want or they're not doing what we want, and we don't feel like we should be able to say you're going to be a one-time candidate, and we
Yeah.
have to move on. We got to be mature about that.
Um, you know, I agree with you wholeheartedly. As I was talking, and I talked to Jarvis, and I even talked with Elvis, and these are two numbers guys. You know, they like to look at the numbers and look at the detail, which I believe a whole lot of folks got up this morning, well, at least some, and started looking at the numbers, who voted where, what, whatever. I think that's what's missing from our strategy as a group. Everything is more on feelings. And
Yeah.
I've had conversations around that too, and who I know. And I'm not really being educated. But some of these candidates, and I think Pastor Scott did, he looked at the numbers. I think that Fran Tate probably looked at the numbers,
Mhm.
understood that if 5,000 people are going to vote, if that's the estimate, then here's the number that I need to get. How
Mhm.
many of my family and friends can I get out there to and they have this finite number that they know they need to reach to be competitive. And
Mhm.
I think that's what they set out to do. So if I may have saw
But
Pastor
look,
Scott in passing, he says, I'm out knocking on doors. I'm out knocking on doors. That well, he kept saying that. But if that's in fact what he was doing, that's exactly the strategy that he needed.
but look, everybody was doing that. We all know that. We knew that we needed to try
Everybody
to
was
get.
doing that, but what were they doing that with a distinct strategy that when you knocked on that door, you walked away with a known vote that you felt you might have had a red, yellow, and green. So after you knocked on that door and you gave your spiel, do you put them in the red column? That ain't happening. Do you put them in the yellow column? And
Yep.
you're looking for that green. And
Yep.
if you could get as close to 1,400 on your green, you know you got this.
Absolutely. But here's the thing too, because like we knew who we was targeting, right? As we know, and we think we got those people, when these people start receiving multiple flyers, it's going to change your mind, maybe.
That's what I say, red, yellow, and green.
Hmm.
You know when you walk away from a
I know
green,
when we have a hard
that's
green.
it.
Yes, we knew.
That's it.
We
And if
knew
you're
the hard
focusing
greens.
on,
But
yeah, and if you
it's the yellows that you're going to have a problem with because they could easily be influenced no matter what do we say in comparison. This
yeah,
candidate has this, these candidates have that. People don't care.
but your strategy
I'm not
is
saying that they don't care. Um, they just look at the constant
right.
over. Someone told me they got 3 different flyers. Well, I don't think my candidate sent out one
Yeah, yeah.
because I didn't have the money.
And that's why the money is that important. And it's hard to sort of fault a candidate for accepting money. But if the $25 here and there ain't adding up, you're likely not going to prevail.
Right. And it ain't
Unless,
yeah, so that is a lot of $2,500.
unless Black folks created a movement of sort where they strategize and they come up with who's going to be the candidate that they support, and the numbers will tell you 19,000 in let's just say District 5, that that number right there, and getting a percentage of that number and saying to a candidate, we're going to back you, whatever that percentage is. And I'm saying, let's say you're looking at 10 or 12,000. You then go out and make sure those 10 or 12,000 are greens for the movement.
Sure.
You've got some yellows and some reds, but you make sure you get enough greens so that you can walk pretty much confidently into that election day.
So here's what I was thinking.
But you got to have the numbers. That's just, you got to have a numbers person.
Yeah, and listen, you got to have the numbers, or you can have the people behind pushing, and even like these different organizations. Instead of asking who is running, because that's what we do. We ask who is running, but I don't think we ask enough. What is their plan, and what can they deliver? Because at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Yeah.
It don't really matter who is doing the delivery. We just got to know that that person can deliver and will deliver. And the plan can't be their plan. It needs to be the community plan.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I guess I'm
No, I'm
stressing.
agreeing with you too. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, when we pick these candidates, you know, the candidates come and tell us what they think. And I remember one time thinking, yeah, I didn't vote for you to really think. I voted for you to produce.
Yeah, but most people
And I'm not saying not to think, but they were trying to tell us why something couldn't be done, because they want to really side with the other 3 city council people and not fight for us.
Yeah.
No, we hired you to fight for our community,
Yeah.
and not give in.
I would love to see a ground swelling of data-backed a data-backed pack. I'm going to call it a pack. And this pack is about getting as many voters to agree. You don't have a candidate at this point. You do not have a candidate, but what you do have is your asks, those 5 or 6 things that are just deal breakers. And you then move forward and you say to those folks, and they're all greens, they're not yellows. And if there are yellows, you're not really paying attention to them. You're paying attention to those greens, because the greens is what's going to provide the power behind any movement that will not only sway your candidate to fight for your issues, but will automatically, in the case of the council, Tampa City Council, influence the other 3 that also depend on your collective or your block vote. That's what we are missing. And the fact that these 2 candidates, any one of them can win, the power will be in the pack. And if let's say it's Bishop Scott and he goes and he does whatever he wants, you've got a pack that says, oh no, you're not. And it's kind of like when Trump wanted to kind of brag about his vaccines, but his base said, oh no, you didn't. You did not say that I need to go get vaccines. And he switched that really quick. And it became something that was a hindrance for him rather than one of his shining moments during his first term. And he doesn't talk about it, and he can't talk about it because he'll lose his base. And he understands that metric. And I'm saying, if Tampa, and I'm not talking about the United States at this point, if Tampa between now and I'm not necessarily hopeful that it'll be October 28th, but certainly by November 3rd of next year for the midterms, if Tampa can demonstrate that kind of block voting and influencing the mayoral race, let's say, because
Yes.
that's coming up. And
Yes.
I'm looking at the candidates, and this is to your point of not necessarily looking at the name, but looking at what they will do, what they have done, what they will do. The PAC will do that. They will look at here are the 5 things that are important to us. These are deal breakers. And even while you're in the seat, we're still going to be there with you 100% of the time, making sure that what we deem is important is important. That dog, I swear.
Hi, Moses. Moses want to say hello.
Yeah,
So, but with you saying that, what is it with Bob Buckhorn? And how could he still have the sway he have with our community? When I hear people over and over and over, and I don't care what group of people you're in, who say this man didn't do anything.
Yeah, but they still vote for him.
And they're gonna how stupid can we be? Tell me why.
I don't know. They still do. Buckhorn probably is looking at the Black community as we have always been. And I wouldn't say that he would be wrong, because we are still not actively trying to influence policy here locally in the way that we can if we did come together. So we don't really know our strength. And he sees that, but so does everybody else. Everybody can see, let's say, Jane Castor, Buckhorn, the city council people, they realize that we don't know our own strength and cannot come together because maybe I don't like you, right? And we don't listen to each other. We don't listen to each other. So I had the opportunity to listen to several people that I just thought, you are dropping some gems on me in terms of what we need to come together. And I think, and I'll say this to the 2 people that did talk to me, I have very different views from at least one of them, significantly different. But as Black people, if we don't come together and start talking about those differences and then putting some metrics on how we move forward, then Buckhorn and everybody else will look at us the way they did 10, 20 years ago. And that is, all I have to do is come and sit up in their church on Sunday morning and say amen, amen.
And smiling up.
Even before the service is over, I'm out of there.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate, but that's what he sees.
You know, smile in our faces, and it reminds me, it made me think of something when we want to rise up, when Connie Burton said we had to get rid of Mark Over, the state prosecutor.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll never forget, we was sold to the polls that Sunday, and we was out there all day. And that man came out, and we put on a little show out there. Connie had it really nice.
Yeah.
And he stayed the whole time. And he kept slithering up to me. And I was like, dude, get away.
Did you say slithering up?
Yeah, because he was slithering up to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know him really, right? But for me, you know, I didn't know one way or the other. Politics, I try to do what the community as a whole wants. I'm okay with however it goes, whatever the community as a whole wants. But the community at that time said, I had no dealings with the police department or the state attorney officer, you know. But the community as a whole said they was hurting. This man was doing too much. He was over prosecuting our people. And she said that we had to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Okay. I can remember saying to Andrew Warden that I had little faith in him as well, because I said criminal justice system and white people. Doesn't matter if it's R or Democrat to me.
Yeah.
But that particular day, he was slithering in. He kept trying to talk to me. I kept doing it like, go away, go talk to Connie. Because I didn't really know the issues. I just know we was there for that, right?
But that's important what you just said. So even if we come together as a group and everybody says, okay, I agree, it should be for the average voter out there who's on that list, who's agreeing to say, go away, go talk to whoever, who
We
they
got one leader.
know will
We
frame
got
the
one leader.
issues in the way that
Because he was trying to divide us. I
that's
said,
exactly it.
you have one leader. You go talk to her. I stand with her. I
Yeah.
stand with her. And I kept saying that. And
Yeah.
maybe about 4 o'clock, because I mean, that man stayed out there all day. And I asked him, I said, let me ask you a question, because he would not leave me alone. I think it was his girlfriend or wife or something. She kept coming up to me. I don't know why. But I said, why are these black people that was standing with him? And this man told me, and I'll never forget it. And this is when I really, really got back into politics. So this had to be around 2016. He said, those people owe me, because he had helped their children or grandchildren. And I said, well, even if you did, I'm not going to hold any grudges against them. But those people need to understand, you don't pay your debt. You got him elected one time, that's enough. You don't owe him for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So, and he thought that was gonna make me feel some kind of way. And I said, okay, so how long do they have to pay you? Because we're gonna stop it. Now I didn't know if Andrew was gonna win, but he did win. And you know, we
Yeah.
and so I'm saying that to say this. Why are so many people behind Buckhorn? Because
Because
even
it's
if
a familiar name.
people owe
It's a
him, then it's just them, but not the whole damn community. We
but it's a
shouldn't have to.
familiar name. It's a familiar name.
Okay, but we already know that nothing happened, even under Jane. Can we point to
Mm.
anything
It's a
that she has
familiar
done?
name. And his ads and his
This is why we got to grow up.
mailers will
This is
say
why
how
we got to grow
wonderful
up and
he
have
is.
some real conversations around. It is why we have to grow up.
Yeah, that's really true. But we also have to do better at how we use social media, and we have to not be afraid to not agree with some of the candidates that are running, and to be able to challenge them as they challenge us back. The dialogue needs to mature, as you say. I'm using your word. The
Yeah.
dialogue needs to mature so the voting patterns can mature. We have to stop sitting back and going just on feelings. Now, I said feelings because I also had a major conversation about the emotion behind voting for candidates, and how I think candidates do rely on you connecting on an emotional level.
Sure.
And I'm not going to take that away from anything, because some people just want to vote for who they like, right?
Mhm.
Republicans don't care. They don't have to like you. They just have to know you're going
Right.
to deliver on whatever they're looking for.
They're looking for results.
But if we can have some kind of understanding and balance of that, I don't think you should totally take it away, because I do think that the Republicans desire to vote for somebody they literally hate just because the base loves them. I'm going to say the base is doing the whole emotional thing, nothing with fact. In fact, you can tell them facts and they'll just ignore it as
Right.
if you didn't say anything.
Let's say Donald
But
Trump. That's how we got Donald Trump.
so,
There's the
so
base.
right, but we don't want emotional voters that are just totally into the emotion. So the education piece is going to be critical for such a movement, in terms of yes, you might say, hey, go talk to so and so, because I'm a part of that movement, but go talk to so and so. I only know maybe the rudimentary kinds of issues, but you have to know something, right, about
Mhm.
what it is that you want and that person's ability to deliver on that. Now, Naya ran for change. And one of the things that she says is, how do you stand on growth or whatever when the community, East Tampa and Sulphur Springs, looks the way that it does compared to the surrounding communities? You cannot, you I mean, there's nothing you can say about it. There's no defense for it.
Absolutely,
There's,
that's a valid point.
there's no defense for it. But the question now she has to answer is, how will you do this differently, where we are seeing the way Tampa Heights is really developing, and so we can see a progress where businesses are coming in, and what's following the businesses are home ownership. Now, that will happen, but will it happen with Black people that are already here, or does it happen with white people who come in and follow the businesses, and it becomes a gentrified, so the balance, and
that's what we have to look out for. That's what
that's what Pastor Scott or Naya needs to look out for.
Absolutely.
Because that's what the deal has to be before they go in. This is the scenario. How are you going to keep homeowners in their homes? Because I can still go to Hyde Park, and I can still go into Tampa Heights and see these little raggedy homes where people are hanging on to their homes, right? And the property values are going up, but they're hanging on to their homes for that big payoff later. Maybe that's that, or they just don't want to sell.
Or they just want to keep their property.
Exactly. Or they just don't want to sell. But how do we manage that here, where they can keep their homes? And Keela has this cleanup thing that she does, which
without forcing our people out, without
forcing our people out, and making sure
come in and then dictate to us. So so whoever sits in this seat, it is a big thing that they're going to have to make sure.
It's a big deal.
We have to understand that the previous people, when these things was coming down the line, that they thought it was a good idea to have more different income coming in and other things, but they didn't look at the bigger picture here. And here we are. And that falls on them.
Yeah. We move out. We've moved out of the neighborhood. I'm just going to say it. We've moved out of the neighborhood, but we still go in and we work in the neighborhood. But, and I'm saying you, but I'm not saying you, because you still own property in the neighborhood. So I'm looking at, why do we move out? And they are moving in and taking those houses that they have purchased and putting these beautiful homes up, and maybe investors are coming in. Whatever it is, we have to figure out how not to continue to leave the neighborhood, but to be a part of that growth. And we're not necessarily doing that. So I am looking at the people too.
But here's what happened. I would say people start moving out in the 80s, right? Pretty much when I was getting out of high school. People start moving to the outskirts, mostly Fairwood or Brandon. When I got out of high school, that's where everybody, and the neighborhood just started to decline. And that's on our leaders, that's on our mayor and our city council people.
Yeah.
And our county commission and our three at large. I don't think we knew that or really understood that.
But it's on the individuals,
and it's on the community,
residents as well. It is, because
it's on the community. And I'm going to say, even still, we got to say it could be a little too on the Black churches, because in East Tampa, you might you at least got one church, if not two church on every darn street in East Tampa.
Yeah.
Even the churches was thriving. Going with Allison, half of these churches was empty. And when they sat there even in the bottom, this I don't understand how they keep letting this man come back into the church thing, because how did he help you do anything for that community. I want to know because I look at I forget the name of the church, but Mark, the guy on Lake, and he did the tiny homes on his church. You know the name of
Mhm.
that church?
No, I don't,
Oh,
but
Mark Jones. His name is Mark Jones. Oh my God,
yeah.
it's so,
Mhm.
and he probably don't even be involved in politics
Yeah.
or any of this stuff. You got to go by there, and he does a lot for the community. He does even our black churches got to come together. Our black community as a whole got to come together.
That's true. So what's the plan? That's the deal. That's the plan. So even if Mark Jones wants to do the tiny homes and build, how does that factor into a much larger
It
plan?
look like these people can't get together. It look like we can't get together, and the preachers can't get together. Even when they was doing pastors on
Patrol.
patrol.
Hmm.
I mean, we shouldn't have any issues in our community. We just shouldn't.
Yeah.
We should have enough. We have enough space to have whatever it is we want. I don't know why we're divided, but all I know is we gotta come together, and maybe the
Yeah.
young people, maybe the new generation, will figure out a way how we could build this moving forward.
Yeah. I think it's necessary that the community come together, and I think the leaders that we've put in place, Shake Washington, Gwen Myers, and whoever wins this seat, those three. Um,
All of them got to go.
I'm not saying they have to go.
No, I'm saying. No, I know you're not saying. We just got to start over fresh.
I'm saying that we're gonna have to they're gonna have to make the shift and realize that the people that they um, that the people in East Tampa and Sulphur Springs, and I know their areas are larger than that, but the inequity that has been displayed over the last 50 years is so obvious to
Sure,
everyone.
sure.
And I'm talking white, black, or indifferent. I don't care who you are. You can see the stark difference. But they need for those three people in those seats to stay quiet.
Yes.
And if they say something, they're probably gonna, kind of shoot them down. But we need somebody who's able to fight for those areas, because they are purposely putting people in who will not fight for those areas so that they can develop.
Yes. And
Eh,
not only that, we're gonna not only have to hold those three people accountable, but we're now gonna have to hold and now that you really understand, we're gonna really have to hold our three at large
Absolutely. You are
on,
absolutely right.
both accountable.
Yeah.
Um, and if those people aren't giving them the assistance that they need, then they have to go too.
Yeah.
But I would say the three people that you just mentioned, they're out of touch. It's neither good nor bad. It's just is.
I
They're
I
out of
I,
touch.
I didn't I named two, and
Or
the
two,
other
whoever
the
you
other
say.
seat the other seat is up for grabs, and we have to determine which of the two candidates fit the bill of what we just described.
Yes. Yes.
And how will they speak about that? And I think Bishop Scott, because everybody ties to him history, um and we yes, the CRA was put in place a while ago
But the
under his watch.
CRA haven't produced a
But
damn thing in each
and that's what I'm going to say. But the CRA has largely been ineffective, and I don't even know what goes on with the CRA. What I do know is that West Tampa seems to be progressing, and CRA is tied into that progression, but nothing is happening in East Tampa, and nobody has said, "Hey, what the heck? How do we fix this?" If the original intent was that they were going to improve the livelihood of the people in East Tampa, show
and
us the
the fact of the
improvement.
matter is that he said he was the author of it
Yeah.
and then sat there and didn't do anything or didn't pick up the phone and make a goddamn phone call. Come on. It's a problem.
It
And
is
now
a
you
problem.
come back 16 years later and say you're going to fix the problem.
Yeah, it is a problem, but this election is going to be between these two candidates. It will be about who is going to actually improve East Tampa. Now, I say that East Tampa, Sulphur Springs. Now, I say that, and well, it'll be for Ybor as well, and Channel Side. It seems to be doing
We don't have
fine,
to even
but
mention them because
everybody
they
wants.
always get taken care of. We don't have to mention them. They have fighters. They always get taken care of in District 5 under a Black leadership.
They do, but
They never get left out.
what I'm saying is generally, and I'm going to use the word intimidated, but I don't mean it in, oh, I'm scared.
They're scared.
But 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 when the conversations happen and it's time to sort of negotiate where the money is going, we get left with nothing. We get left with sidewalks and streetlights. We don't have the things that really demonstrate from one year to the next, wow, we're building on this thing. And my selfishness is that I go into those schools in those areas, and those kids are living in neighborhoods that are pretty dismal, and their grades reflect that.
Sure.
It reflect that, because when I go into the neighborhoods, the affluent neighborhoods, their grades reflect that. They're A grades. It's an A school community, and I call them, this is a DF school community, in my opinion. So how do we as a Black community start paying attention, coming together, putting metrics together that we, within the next, I don't know, by October 28th, we pretty much have a candidate in mind that we're all going to back. Now, I don't think that's going to happen in the short term. I think people are going to go into their separate camps, but I think the conversation has to be around building infrastructure, building East Tampa and Sulphur Springs.
Look, I think as a whole, and I'm going to say put aside, organizations, the Divine Nine, we will have to come together as a community, and I'm just talking about the people, to avoid what's going to happen. It just seemed like we get bought and sold in every election.
Oh, wow. That's
And in order to not
that's
to
a
do
picture.
that,
That's a picture.
yeah, that's what I think. You could see that when I really saw it this time when we looked at where this finance was coming from, because our when we was you and I was looking at APAC, and these people, I'm like, these people aren't giving these politicians millions of dollars for nothing. They
Right.
want something.
Right.
We just got to figure out how to maybe give them what they want, but they have to be able to say, I have to do this for my community.
I know, but what they want
Can we
is
not do that?
your vote. What typically happens, though, on the airwaves is that if I have enough money, I could put on social media and I can put a lot of ads on TV, and I can convince you to give me your vote. But you can bypass that by saying you get not only my vote, but you get 12,000 other votes. And you don't even have to have the money, because we don't have it. The Black community, we are behind systemically. We cannot write $10,000 checks. Most of us cannot do it. We've got other things to do with our money because we don't have as much as they do. They pour into candidates because they either need to keep you silent or make sure that the money doesn't pour into the Black community. And that is intentional. We have to recognize that and say, I am with this group and I may not like this person or that person, but I am in with this group, and you're not going to need to spend $1 to get my vote because you have got it. You've got the vote. And
Right.
if they can get
and that's what
12,000 without having to spend a dime, and it's just based on, I need to make sure I deliver on these things, then that's where the actual transaction is. And now our job then is to look at the metrics, figure out what it's going to take, and make sure we deliver on that. And if we deliver on that, they're in office. Now you got somebody where you're now wagging the dog. You're the tail wagging the dog.
right.
And that's true for the other three, if that works in the but we're not doing that. We're just voting willy-nilly.
Well, it is almost as if the donors are picking the candidates.
They are picking the candidates.
And I want to get them out of the agenda and say the people, and that the candidates that we get behind. If the community just gets behind whoever we
They're
think,
picking the candidates.
and
They
then
are
we could pick our own candidate and support that own candidate and get our agenda pushed.
Yeah, they are picking the candidates. And I think you just said it the best. They're picking the candidates because
Mhm.
they're writing the big checks to them, and the candidates understand what that means.
Yeah.
And they then have to pretend that, yeah, I'm going to do what you say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm with you, and I just need your votes, and blah, 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 skin tone, whatever. They are picking the candidates. You've got to stop that.
Mhm.
And the way that you do that is to commit to a pact, make a pact with your fellow brothers and sisters to say, hey, Naya, here's the deal. We have 12,000 votes over here. Now, we know we ain't got 12,000 votes because we know only 5,000 some people voted. And she knows that as well. Same thing with Pastor Scott. Hey, Pastor Scott, we got, he knows the same thing. So that's going to take a lot of work. That means know what the numbers are and then go out there and knock on them doors for them. But you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself because you can't write $100,000 checks and whatever else. You remember Trump said to the CEOs, give me $1 billion and I'll give you whatever you want.
I'll give you whatever you want.
And he's actually delivering on that.
And they gave it to him, absolutely, and he is delivering them.
Right.
But the fight of the matter is, ours got to be a little different because see, we got to understand that election is just a movement, but our community is every day.
Every day. I love that.
Our community got to be.
I like the sound
the
of that.
next generation and the next generation. We're going to have to turn East Tampa, Sulphur Springs, Progress Village around for our children.
Yeah.
We're not in a place yet that we could sell out, and we have the luxury of waiting 4 years to turn it around or waiting 8 years to turn it around. We don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
We can't do what they do. And it's unfortunate. And I know that the candidates, they want to play with the big boys, okay? But when they do that, they can see, look, Naya with her young eyes said, why do the community still look the way it looks?
Yeah. She has said that many times.
Mm-mm.
Right.
And she got a goddamn point because she could see that.
Yeah, but she's got to say that again and
she
again.
Can't only just say it. She's going to have a way of being able to change it. And maybe she just have to have support from the community to help her change.
There you go. And I said she's got to look to the community to say, this is where we come together.
Pressure on her. We go let her get in, do her thing, and the community just have to stand with her.
community will need to stand with her, because that is the only way she's going to really have the kind of influence on that council. Otherwise, she's just little Naya. Little Naya. Now, I say
Well, look,
that, and I don't mean to take away from Naya, but Pastor Scott, the same thing.
I was going to just say that on the other hand, we
Right.
have to hold him accountable. Because
But it's the same thing. He doesn't really have the power, and what he would then maybe do is, because he knows the players, because he's been there, done that, but he doesn't have to compromise in the negotiations where we don't win. I want to win. I want East Tampa and Sulphur Springs to win. But if he's back there doing negotiations, the compromise, and this has been historical here, any compromise in politics that have to do with the Black community is always in on the short end of the deal.
we always lose.
Always.
So that's what I'm saying. Now listen,
so I'm saying recognize that with him and with Naya, to say, we're going to give you the power because we're going to stand with you, and our votes are not just for you in this District 5, but it's also countywide on 3 other seats.
yes.
You tell us where we should. It kind of like that Malcolm X movie. Oh man, when he points and they just all turn and they leave.
Look outside.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Part. Yes.
And we need to make sure that these 2, whichever one gets in, can say, just look outside. Yeah. Just tell them to look outside. I'm going to use that. The look outside approach. Look outside, and we will be standing
when they get on the dais that morning and they see us in the audience. Absolutely.
Well, they're going to see some of you, but they're not going to see a lot of us because we're working or whatever else. But it's the whole look outside premise. And maybe he has a petition, or maybe there's something that indicates to them they have a 12,000 strong, or 10,000 even out of the 19,000. If you got 50% even, you have a delegation behind you that gives what you say on that dais a lot of strength. And that's where the strength in politics is. It's in the people. If the people know it, and the people don't have to love each other, they just have to have a common goal, and that is to give that person the power that they need. And I'm all for that. Whichever one gets in there, I'm 100% with them. But my family becomes 100% with them. And I began talking, and we began talking in the community in such a way that everybody understands the metrics and everybody understands the goals. And we become, as you say, politically educated and much more mature in how we walk in Tampa. And hopefully that's something you can spread beyond. But we have to do it. And there's enough conversation out there, because I learned a lot over the last couple of days. I learned a great deal observing, talking to some of my fellow voters out there, but also being attached to Allison, and even talking to her mother in terms of what kind of candidates are we looking for. And why it's important that we get beyond, as you said earlier, name, familiarity, and that type thing, that it's important that we understand what their capabilities are and what their performance has been. And hers is stellar, but nobody knows her, right? And we had a short window. But if you got to know her, and she is one of those candidates of the future, and I'm going to say that, then you don't just throw her away. Now you figure out you've got this pack, and now you say, you know what, we've got Allison. Let's build Allison, and that's support Allison. And Allison keeps going out there and doing what she does. She's challenging whoever, and I would love it if she came and challenged the school board as well. But you got those Allison types out there that now the pack has sent them out into the community to keep everybody accountable, right? And then you're saying to Allison, this is going to come up. Are you interested in running for that? Because now the PAC is going to get 100% behind you in this. And you start planning who. You saw Joanna Colbert out there. You've got you had Elvis out there. You decide who is going to carry your demands. We said ask, but demands. And who is capable of doing that in the way that represents that PAC. And it needs to be representative. It can't just be all crazy stuff.
So I think the problem with Allison too, and I don't know how we're going to get past this, because it was a big problem that she was a Republican. And
I
because we are so immature, we could not get past that.
Right.
We just simply could not get past that.
That's true.
In this day and time, and we know that she doesn't align herself with Trump Republicanness. We know that because she has been doing the work. And when she was doing the work, you guys, I guess we all just naturally assumed she was a Democrat or she was like us.
I did. I thought she was.
I mean, I didn't think one way or the other. I just don't.
Right.
I just didn't. It didn't matter.
But the default was, oh, of course she's a Democrat. But
yes,
you're right.
Yes.
It matters and it doesn't matter. I'm going to say it matters and it doesn't matter. And I've given the qualifiers for when it matters and when it doesn't.
Right.
But she definitely is demonstrating on a day-to-day basis every single day that she is for this community. And that's her every waking hour. That is what she does. And so we now have to make sure that with the races that are coming up, even if she says, I don't want to run for mayor, but okay, but what? How do we begin negotiating and start moving in a way that influences who's also in key positions around the city of Tampa? There's so much we could be doing that helps our own people that have the talent and the commitment or the passion to do jobs. But we have to understand what is it that we want, and now look for those young people. And when I say young people, I'm talking 50, in the 50s, 40s, and the 30s, and maybe even in the 20s. Because if you can assess whether or not this person has the chops and the knowledge and the preparation, and in Naya's case, I'm going to give it to her. The woman went to school. She was political science. And I was listening to Ishalina earlier, and Ishalina's like, I didn't know that she was a political science master's degree at Howard University. I didn't know that. I didn't know, and that she's married. So she's not some young person out there just doing. The woman has a pretty solid life, and she's prepared. And now the experience will be a lot on the job, but I see a whole lot of politicians at the federal level that are doing a whole lot of OJT. I mean, Trump was OJT, and I hate to compare it to that because he's a total disaster, but I think we can really help our young people more so than we are. And when people run and don't prevail or don't get in, but we see the talent, the PAC would take them to the side and say, all right, let's start planning for your next run. Mm-hmm. And you're not leaving them out there. You're taking care of them. Mm-hmm. And you're preparing.
And look, I think, yes. I don't know where some of these people, because all this stuff, people just don't do the research behind the candidates, right?
Yeah.
Because all of the information that we needed about any of these candidates, it was out there. So, and it's kind of hard because I'm gonna give her a pass because she was working on our campaign, so she was mostly pushing our agenda. Mm-hmm. And Um, I don't know, like Daryl um, Heights.
Yeah,
He's just started this behind the bar. I think it's called behind the
I
bar.
totally love that.
I love the concept too. And and I hope he keeps
Really,
it going. I hope he keeps it going.
he is
Uh,
going to. Yeah, he's
just,
doing it.
just engaging the community because
He's
we're
going to
gonna have
do
to
that.
have multiple ways, multiple tools on how we're gonna move forward. And the candidates that get in these seats, let them know that we are watching. We will be. We need to start keeping a scorecard, not just of District 5 and 3,
Yep.
but everyone that
Every
we have to vote for,
right,
right?
right. That's true.
And he probably will keep his up. We have tea and conversation. You and I doing this. We have multiple ways of us keeping our community engaged,
Right.
and maybe in 2026 we'll be ready to all get behind one or two candidates.
Right. I love that, what you just said, and you're right. We're building sort of the communications infrastructure around, or the education infrastructure around getting to know these candidates. But not even but, and I hope that we build the a pack that are learning from these various things. And hats off to Candy Low for being so steadfast in tea and conversations,
Hmm.
because you then have shows like us, brand new. You have Behind the Bar with Daryl Heist. You have just different things that are going to start popping up that keeps us informed and educated. Now, to that extent, we've got to build a bench of people that we are pushing out there. Allison, I'm going to say her name again, Allison Hewitt, is somebody the Black community cannot afford to throw away. So, how do we take Allison and nurture her for that next run? And when we do that, we make sure that those who would run against her in the Black community, we are saying, oh, you have an interest in running. How do we help you do that? But let's try something over here because we have a plan. We have a plan for she's going to run and we're all going to get behind her. Oh, you want to run for the school board? Well, we will work with you in that regard, but we can't have all of us running against each other in the same seat because that dilutes the vote, and we see what happens with that.
Because in
When
this race, if we would have just maybe say had two people
Yep.
or three, and let whoever the community decide, say three people decide to get in the race, and whoever the community decide at that
Yeah,
point, that we had a winner, an outright winner on Tuesday, because we are wasting a lot of time.
we are wasting a
We have
whole lot of
no representation on city council right now, and they're making decisions right now about the budget, about our lives, when we could not figure. And I guess it's hard because I can remember when Guy White was running for county commissioner.
Yeah, I
And
fell in love with Sky White with that
and I
kind
always
of
fall in love with these
bold.
girls.
Look,
I fell in love with her
I
as
mean,
well. I worked on
it was a
a
bold move to go for a county-wide seat,
yes,
and she looked just like me, and it was like,
yes,
yes,
yes, yes. And
yep,
and everybody kept
young,
trying to say somebody needs to drop out, somebody, but nobody. And it's hard to say that somebody needs to drop out because people just isn't going to drop out. And even if we say the community isn't going to get behind you, you don't really need the community to stay in there. Now, you're not going to win. You're not going to win if you don't have the support of the majority of the community, but
yeah,
you will hold it up. And that's what happened here.
yeah. But
And,
I
and,
think,
and, and even for that, when I look at the the thing, and that's probably when I really decided I was going to go independent on that race, because the Democratic Party as a whole, and I'm talking about white Democrats, they had already decided who they wanted, and they wanted at that time, I think it was Kim Oberman.
Mhm.
And I'm like, but why? And it was close because she had very little help from the Democratic Party.
Right, but what if Black people moved out of the Democrat Party and into the Black Independent Party, and then you said, "But why?" You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and
Why her?
they would have to give you a really good answer because you're in the Black Independent Party, and that vote does not come just because we're Democrat. The loyalty thing has been broken, and now it is, you need to give me concrete reasons why Kim Overman being in that position is going to help East Tampa. I mean, not East Tampa, but the Black community. And that's what we're missing at this point. We have no leverage
Right.
in order
And
to
as she
question.
sat in that seat, she too, I asked, tell me or show me what did you do with the
Yeah,
budget for our communities?
right. Yeah.
Nothing. And now
And that's,
she wants to run again.
yeah, but that's where a Sky White could have prevailed, because she would have had over here in the independent column 19,000 votes, not 19,000, but let's say 12,000 votes, because you've got this block of votes that are pretty much everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
And then they are looking for you. They're looking for you now to say, okay, we have this vote, this person, and they know what our platform is, so they are having to figure that out. And I think we're missing an opportunity. We got a lot of really great young people that want to run, that are extremely talented. You've got a race that's coming up with the old and the new. And I'm not saying that the old has to be discarded, but I do believe that old ways of thinking need to be challenged and satisfied to the communities. It has to be satisfied uh, in terms of, are you the right person? And I would just love to see those debates where we begin talking as a community less about the past, as if it's going to predict what the future is, because the future has to change.
Yes.
Other people and communities are changing as we speak, but
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like the Black community is changing. We're relying too much on old politics rather than new. So let's say you took the money, you take the money for your campaign. Doesn't mean you have to do what they want. Really
No,
doesn't.
no.
Doesn't. It
And
means thank you very
particularly,
much.
particularly
I only want to be
LA,
one term anyway, right?
look, they're supposed to be such good negotiate. Well, people negotiate the deal, but don't sell us out.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you have to do what they want. That's the thing, especially if you're only going to be in there for one term.
Right.
I mean, age kind of tells you that the term's not going to be that long. Can't be. Or
Well, I don't know. Look at our president. He could definitely do. He's only 71, so he could do.
I, I think times are shifting with regard to age, and we're going to start seeing not only term limits on a lot of at the federal level, but you're going to start seeing people much more age conscious,
Mhm.
and it will start making its way into policy and making it very difficult for people of a certain age to, I'm done. I'm pretty much
I don't
done.
know. In my
I don't want to
opinion,
run. Huh?
I don't know. I just say, in my opinion, wouldn't you like to relax, travel, enjoy the grandkids? I look at my mother, and I don't care. And these people who do this, they have passion, and they say they love it. But even my mother, she says, "Oh, I'm going to work until I can't work anymore. I'll work 1 or 2 days a week," because she did love it, but she worked till she got sick. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And I do love what I do, but I'm not. I want to, travel. Um, I want to do other things. So
Well, I,
I don't understand these people who want to work, because it's a lot of work required. It ain't. I don't know. I know Thomas Scott is well educated, but it ain't the same as it was 16 years ago. I don't ever believe they stay in city council to 1, 12 o'clock at night, in the morning, you know. It's just ain't the same job he wants left.
Yeah, it's not. It's a lot of research, and
And
you've got.
we don't want it to kill him.
We really don't. That's a thought. But two great candidates. I'm quoting Elvis Piggott in one of his posts today. He's like, two great candidates. I agree
Absolutely.
with that. We have two clear choices that are going to be very different. You have to decide as voters, those of you in D5, you have to decide as voters which one meets the needs of where the communities in D5 need to go. And to me, the bottom line is equity. There has to be some equity in the decision making where Sulphur Springs and East Tampa are not left out. And in fact, they might need to get more than maybe others because
Absolutely.
of the fact, and that's what equity basically means. At the end of the day, District 5
Like
belongs
us
to the
not
people.
receiving it for years and years and years. And that's what we need the candidate to really
Yeah.
understand and advocate for.
Yeah, District 5 needs to belong to the people, but at the same time, as I say to the people, you need to come together because you won't be taken seriously and things will not grow. You can't leave it to one person. Like President Obama used to say, you need to push me.
Yeah.
You need to push me. And we never did come together to actually push with any major um, change for the Black community.
Well, hold your thought on that, because had I known then what I know now, I would have been pushing for him to be a one-time president.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're the president and you should understand, he should have understood how immature we was, and we didn't know the push. We knew to baby you, let you do and hope that you do the right thing. We was hoping he did. He should have known that we was just so glad to have someone simple with no substance.
Yeah, that's another discussion, and I'm going to say that to you in this one
I
that
don't want them
we
telling
need to
me
have.
I should push you, because
But
we've
that's
already pushed you to get in the seat.
that's another discussion that we will have at some point, because you and I totally disagree on that. But let's close out because we're at an hour and 42, and it's easier for me to work the thing if we don't go to 2 hours.
Times go by fast. Hey guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Like us, share us on We Are Black Independent. Please go to YouTube, like and subscribe to our page. We're trying to get 500 subscribers on YouTube. Also, we have our new Black Independent coffee
Uh,
cups. I'm drinking water out of mine tonight.
yeah, I drink water.
Yeah. And we'll see you again on Sunday evening, 6 p.m.
Yes,
And we got a race. We got a race now. And we
off to
have
the race.
and we definitely have, I do believe, no matter what, we have two good candidates, two candidates that I believe that will fight. Will fight
Yeah.
for our community, and who understand things are changing in East
Right.
Tampa. We want things changed.
Absolutely. So get yourself informed, and we will see you on Sunday night.
Good night.
Night.